Hey everybody, the Montreal Canadiens going into the offseason knew they had some holes to fill, and GM Marc Bergevin didn't waste any time in doing that. So we all knew as fans, and I'm sure management knew this too, they had to, I think they had to fill the backup goalie role. They had to find a left side defenseman to help solidify the defensive core, hopefully top four, and they needed a scoring winger. This is quite obvious, and I think these are the targets that they were looking to fill. GM Marc Bergevin wasted no time in filling two of those three. First one was goaltender Jake Allen from the St. Louis Blues. We got him for a third-round draft pick, and that's definitely going to solidify the goaltending position with Carey Price and Jake Allen, who is a legitimate, solid backup goalie. They just recently, like 3 days ago, they went out and picked up the rights to defenseman Joel Edmondson. He's a huge 6'4", 215-pound, physical, stay-at-home type defenseman on the left side that should be able to play. Probably, I'm figuring second pairing and solidify that left side. And I figured they'll sign him, but you gotta think that either they picked him up like that to flip him somewhere else because somebody else they knew wanted him and they can get the deal they want, or they are planning to re-sign Edmondson. I would think within a few days we'll hear about that. So that leaves the scoring winger because we're solid down the middle now. So they need a scoring winger, and that's what's left. And this is my video on my ideas for trade targets and UFA players that could hopefully fill that hole that Montreal has. So we'll list them. There's 1 to 10, and we're going to start right away with number 10. Now, number 10 is a UFA, so I think I've got 3 UFAs on this list, and we're going to go through those first. First one is Mike Hoffman. Mike Hoffman is first of all, he's 30 years old. He's a right wing, left wing, UFA. He's 6'2", 190 pounds. He is playing in Florida, well, has been playing in Florida. It's possible Florida will re-sign him, but we'll see what happens. He is from Kitchener, Ontario. He was drafted 130th overall in 2009 by Ottawa. Last season, 69 games, 29 goals, 30 assists for 59 points. His career is, he has 493 games played, 172 goals, 187 assists for 359 points. So this is a solid secondary scoring winger. This is pretty much what Montreal needs to get. If you're looking to say, okay, we'll need a guy on the first line, that's going to cost you a lot, either money if it's a UFA, or in trade, you're going to have to probably create a hole somewhere else. So I think you're looking at probably secondary scoring on the second line. Hoffman would fill that role. My only thing I don't like about Hoffman is we all know about the controversy in Ottawa with his wife and what's his name's wife? I can't remember the guy's name. The defenseman there. So with his wife, there was some with texts and phone calls and all kinds of stuff. It hasn't resurfaced in Florida, so I don't expect it will, but that's the one thing that I think will follow Hoffman around. But this is a solid second line, secondary scoring guy, and depending what you're going to have to pay for him or sign him for, because he's 30 years old, I think it's a guy that you could look at. Next up, number 9, Tyler Toffoli. Toffoli's a guy Montreal's been rumored to be wanting to get for, oh God, I gotta say about 3-4 years. So he's a UFA right now. Honestly, I think Vancouver would really like to sign him and will try everything they can, I think, to keep Toffoli. He's 28 years old. He's a right wing, left wing. He's a UFA, 6'1", which I thought he was smaller than that, but he's 6'1", 195 pounds. He's from Scarborough, Ontario, here in Canada. 47th overall. He was drafted 47th overall in 2010 by the LA Kings. And I think he spent his whole career until last season with LA, where I think he was traded at the deadline, if I'm not mistaken. It's just, you know, with that break in between, the last deadline seems so far away. But yeah, 2019-20, excuse me. 68 games played, 24 goals, 20 assists, 44 points. In his career, 525 games, 145 goals, 155 assists for an even 300 points. Toffoli is definitely a guy that can do the same kind of, like I was talking about Hoffman, fit into your second line winger, give you solid secondary scoring. A lot of experience. I believe he won the Stanley Cup with LA. I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 times, but he's a Stanley Cup winner. Tons of experience. Problem is, I think it's going to be a high price tag to sign him. And I think, though, they will inquire. I don't know if we'll end up getting him, but I think Vancouver would like to keep him. And I don't know if they have the cap space to do that. So he's definitely out there, and it's not Tile, it's Tyler. I get ahead of myself sometimes. Number 8 is Evgeny Dadonov from Florida. So he's also a UFA. So like Hoffman in Florida, Dadonov is also UFA. It looks like probably Florida will keep one of the two. So I don't know which one it'll be, but Dadonov would be the guy I would prefer to have. He's 31 years old. He's a right wing, left wing, UFA. He's a little on the small side. That's the only guy I would say is the knock. 5'11", 185 pounds. He's from Russia. He was drafted 71st overall in 2007 by Florida. He had 70 points as his career high in 2018-19, so just a season removed from that. Last season, in 69 games, 25 goals, 22 assists for 47 points. In his career, now that's in the NHL because he spent 3 years in the KHL, and then the last 3 years in the NHL. So his NHL numbers are 280 games, 91 goals, 111 assists for 202 points. Dadonov is one of those guys that, you know, you could bring him in here as a second line winger, and he could really, you know, really give you that 70 points. He's a lot of experience, hasn't won a cup. But he's the guy I would really like. I think he could be almost like a sleeper in a draft. This guy could be, you know, come in and do really good things here. So I like Dadonov over Hoffman from Florida, so that's why Hoffman is number 10. Number 7, from Columbus, and he's really, there's a lot of talk about getting Josh Anderson, mostly because of his size, I think, because I don't really think his numbers justify that. That's the word I'm looking for. So Josh Anderson, he's 26 years old. He's a right wing. He's an RFA. So you'd have to trade for him and sign him, or unless they sign him and trade him. He's 6'3", 220 pounds, from Burlington, Ontario, here in Canada. He was drafted 95th overall in 2012 by Columbus. In 2019-20, only played 26 games because he was injured. Only a goal, 3 assists for 4 points. That's worrisome. In his career, 267 games, 65 goals, 50 points. 65 goals, 50 assists, 115 points. So not a ton of points. I think he's a bit, I wrote here, injury prone because he's had a couple of seasons with where it's obvious he was injured because of the amount of games played. And I just wonder about that. But he's got the size. He's young. He's on an RFA contract. You'd have to re-sign him. So I don't know a ton about Josh Anderson. So I'm putting him up here on the board because I've seen a lot of fans really want to get him. So I thought I'd put him up here. He's not my favorite guy. I'm worried about the points total and the injury prone possibility. Number 6. This is a guy I've been talking about. I don't know if it's going to be easy to get this guy and what it's going to cost you to get him. Anthony Mantha from Detroit. Now, Mantha is a Quebec kid. He's born in Longueuil, Quebec, right here, so it's just on the South Shore, not far from Montreal. He's 25 years old. He's a right wing, left wing. He is an RFA, so once again, you gotta, if you trade for him, you gotta re-sign him, or they sign and trade him. He is 6'5", 225 pounds. He's not, if I'm right, he's not the most physical guy, but he will play physically and he will fight if needed. 20th overall in 2013, he was drafted by Detroit. Last season, he was injured for a lot of the season, 43 games, 16 goals, 22 assists, 38 points. really close to a point a game, so I like that. In 260 career games, 84 goals, 89 assists, 173 points. Yeah, I'd really like to see Mantha. He's that big guy you want on the wing, big skilled guy that can skate, that can do everything. He's great, and he's basically from Montreal. I think it'd be a great trade if you can get him. I just worry what would you have to give up? It could be a lot, and but I like him, and I like to see him here in the Montreal uniform. Next up from Edmonton, sorta. They have his rights still. Oops. It's ugly. Jessie Puljujarvi. Took me a while to learn how to spell his name. Jessie Puljujarvi. Now it's rumored that he's going to work out some kind of deal and get back to Edmonton. So he's not signed. He is not a free agent. He's not an RFA. He's not on an ELC. So I imagine he finished his ELC, and so he'd be an RFA, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Puljujarvi. He's 22 years old. Edmonton holds his rights. They don't have a contract with him. So you'd have to, if you trade for him, you're getting his rights. You have to work out a deal. He's 6'4", 200 pounds. He was drafted 4th overall in 2016 by Edmonton. Right now he's playing for Karpat in Liga, which is in Finland, and he's doing really good there. So I'll get to that. In 2019-20, he played 56 games for Karpat, 24 goals, 29 assists, 53 points. So practically, I hit my microphone, practically a point a game. But that's over in Finland. In his NHL career, in 139 games, 17 goals, 20 assists, 37 points. So definitely underproduced, but I mean, this is a 4th overall pick. He's definitely got talent. He's showing it in Finland. It's a bit risky. I get it. It's not that guy that you want them to trade that's going to come in. You know he's going to do well, but it's a risk that, you know, depending on what you have to give up to get him, might be the answer for the right wing scoring solution we have, the need we have here in Montreal. Next up, number 4. From Washington, Oshie. Let's see now. Oshie is the first one that's actually signed. He is 33 years old, very experienced, right wing, 5 years left at $5.75 million AAV. He's 6'1", 190 pounds. He's from Washington State in the USA. 24th overall in a 2005 draft by St. Louis. That's where he was drafted. He's a Stanley Cup winner in 2018 with Washington. Last season, he, in 69 games, got 26 goals, 23 assists for 49 points in his career. 803 games, 238 goals, 329 assists for 567 points. This is a very experienced player. He'd really do well on your, I imagine you can probably, if need be, put him on the first line, but he's probably an ideal second line winger. Like I said, tons of experience. He can score. He can produce in the playoffs. This is a guy that could do well. Now, will Montreal be able to get him out of Washington? I don't know. I don't know what it would take. Honestly, I don't even know if Washington's looking to trade him. But if they're going to be making some changes there in Washington after their poor showing this in this playoffs, you can see that maybe they want to make save some cap space and move a contract like that. I don't know. I don't know if we could be able to get him out of Washington, but he'd be a good pickup if we could. He definitely helped the team moving forward to contend and performing in important games, stuff like that. Oshie is a good player. Number 3 on this list is from St. Louis. And that's Jaden Schwartz. Jaden Schwartz. He is a 28-year-old right wing, left wing. He has 1 year left at $5.35 million AAV. He's 5'10". That's the one thing I don't like about this guy is that he's a little short. I'd like to see them bring in a guy with size, but he's 5'10", 190 pounds. He was drafted 14th overall in 2010 by St. Louis. He comes from Saskatchewan here in Canada. He is a Stanley Cup winner in 2019 with St. Louis. In 2019-20, in 71 games, 22 goals, 35 assists for 57 points. In his career, 520 games, 146 goals, 218 assists for 364 points. Again, another guy that can come in, play on your second line, and give you some points and produce. He's got experience. He's a Stanley Cup winner. I'm just a little not on his size. You only have to commit for the 1 year. So depending what you're giving up, because St. Louis needs to get rid of salary. They want to try to sign Alex Pietrangelo, Vince Dunn, maybe another guy there too. They don't have the cap space yet for all of that. So they're probably looking to move somebody. Maybe they're going to move this guy. You only have to commit for 1 year, and I don't think St. Louis is going to look to get a player back that's good, that's signed at any kind of money, because they're looking to shed cap. So like we got Jake Allen from them for a third-round pick, you might end up getting a guy like this for a very similar price. Because remember, he's only got 1 year left on his contract, so he'll be a UFA at the end of that. So you're not going to give up a ton for him, and they don't want to receive players that have contracts, NHL contracts that they have to pay, pretty much. So Jaden Schwartz could be a good answer here in Montreal. Number 2 are both guys that I've talked about, I think, a number of times. So it's not going to be any surprise to anybody who watch my videos regularly. And that's number 2 is going to be Alex Killorn. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is still, I think they made a little bit of space, but they're close to the cap. They need to make some cap space, and Killorn is a good possibility. He's a 31-year-old player. He's left wing, so that's the thing. But I imagine he could play on the right side, or we could switch guys around. But he's a left wing. He's one of the few that's not left wing, right wing. He has 4 years left at $4.45 million AAV. He also has a modified no trade clause. So I don't know how big the list is that he can give where he doesn't want to go. And I don't know if Montreal will be on the list, because an interesting fact that I didn't know is that he grew up here in Beaconsfield, even though he was born in Halifax. So he born in Halifax, but grew up here in Beaconsfield, Quebec, which is not a stone's throw, but it's not far from where I live. So it's on the West Island here in Montreal. So that could be a reason why he'd even want to come here, and he might be one of those players that likes to play in Montreal, that were born or raised in Montreal. He is 6'1", 195 pounds. He was drafted 77th overall in 2007 by Tampa. Last season, 68 games, 26 goals, 23 assists, 49 points. And in his career, 131 goals, 179 assists for 310 points in 585 games. I really like Killorn. I like his game. I think he's a bit of a hard-nosed kind of player, and he can get you points. He's got the 26 goals last season. I think he regularly gets in the 20 goals, so that's a scoring winger you're looking for, secondary scoring, and I'm sure he could play, if needed, on the top line if there's injuries for short periods of time. So I really like that, and I like the fact that I just found out that he grew up in Beaconsfield. It gives it a little, added thing for him, I think, coming to Montreal, if he would be. So next up is the number 1 guy on this list, but I'd have to say I'm happy 1 or 2. They're my 2 favorites. Let's put it that way. So we got from Winnipeg, and I've talked about him many times. Nikolai. Spell it right. Ehlers. Okay, so Ehlers is 24 years old. He is a right wing, left wing. He has 5 years left at $6 million AAV, so he's signed for a long time. I like that, especially he's 24. So he's not one of these older guys at 28, 29. He's only 24, signed for 5 more years. I think that's excellent. He is 6'1", no, he's 6 feet even, 175 pounds. So he's got decent size, not great big, but he's got decent size. He's from Denmark. He was drafted 9th overall in 2014 by Winnipeg. Last season, in 71 games, 25 goals, 33 assists, 58 points in his career, 369 games, 115 goals, 142 assists, 257 points. Now, one of the things about Ehlers that I like is we have a guy here, a winger, who has been struggling, and we're frustrated about him, and that's Jonathan Drouin. And Jonathan Drouin played 2 seasons, I believe, in Halifax in his junior days. for the Mooseheads, and his line mate was Nikolai Ehlers, and I believe also Nathan MacKinnon, and together they were a great line, and Ehlers and Drouin definitely have chemistry, and I would hope that could continue if they became teammates in the NHL, and maybe that's the kind of thing that gets Drouin that push that we need, finding a guy that he's familiar with, he knows he has chemistry with, might excite him and give him that extra push. So that's pretty much why I've got Ehlers ahead of Killorn, but I like both of those guys. So listen, those are my thoughts on trade targets and a couple of, I guess, 3 UFA targets that Montreal might look at to solve this problem that they have up front. They need a little bit more scoring, hopefully some more experienced scoring. I know that rules out a guy like Puljujarvi anyway, but they need some scoring up front, and I think they need it on the wing. Probably on the right side, really, because the right side seems a little bit, they need to be shored up there. So anyways, that's my ideas. Let me know what you think in the comment section about any of these guys, or listen, anybody that you would like to see Montreal pick up that could help scoring on the wing. And do that in the comment section. I'd appreciate that. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. And while you're doing all that, if you haven't already or you're new to the channel, subscribe and ring that notifications bell. And that's going to get you your daily fix of Bleu Blanc Rouge right here at Talking Habs. So thanks everybody for watching. I really do appreciate that. I think that's it. Stay safe out there and peace out, y'all. And I will see you next video. Bye, everybody.